Reaching you live from our studio in Lagos, Nigeria. This is iBrand News Now. Coming up, pandemonium in Lagos as another tanker explodes on Otedola Bridge. IKORODU residents protest over incessant tanker accident on IKORODU-SAGAMU road. Soldiers displace refugees from displacement camps in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. Germany apologizes for its role in the slaughter of Herero and Nama tribespeople in Namibia more than a century ago. Many thanks for joining us on iBrand News Now. My name is Margaret Opera. Now we begin with this developing story. A fuel-laden tanker caught fire on Friday at the Otedola Bridge around the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. First responders have arrived at the scene and have curtailed the fire. Our correspondent gathered that no casualty was recorded as of the time of filing this report. Now, road users are advised to avoid the corridor as the incident has caused gridlock with motorists stranded around the axis. Friday's incident occurred days after the sector's commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Lagos State Command, Olusegun Ogungbemide, said there are no demon, witch or wizard at the Otedola Bridge, but reckless drivers and expired trucks were responsible for the incessant crashes around the bridge. Now, Acting Inspector General of Police Usman Baba Al-Khali lamented on Thursday that last year's #EndSARS protest weakened the capacity of the police to battle insecurity. According to him, besides dampening the morale of officers and men, the scrapping of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS, which was the original target of the protesters, created a vacuum in the operations of the police. Now, the IG spoke yesterday at the Presidential Villa during a weekly briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team. Last year, there were massive protests in many parts of the country by many youth calling for an end to the brutality of the SARS during its operations. In more stories, IKORODU community residents and transporters in Lagos are currently protesting against the state of the roads in the region, calling on the federal government to come to their aid. Their reaction is coming against the backdrop of a recent accident in the area that claimed 5 lives. The residents allege that the state of the roads in the area are responsible for the fatal accident at Okegbegun near Lagos State Polytechnic, IKORODU. The protest took place at Okegbegun near Lagos State Polytechnic, First Gate, IKORODU. Now, the protesters who displayed various placards and chanting solidarity songs blocked IKORODU-SAGAMU Expressway as they set and burned tires. Moving on, EKITI State Governor Dr. FAYEMI on Thursday suspended the Provost College of Health Sciences and Technology, EKITI, Dr. Cecilia Adebayo, following a controversial fumigation in the school, which led to hospitalization of over 100 students. Now, this was made known by a statement released by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Yinka Oyebode. The governor said the suspension was pending the outcome of investigation into the exercise. FAYEMI also directed that the affected students' medical bills be taken over by the state government. He constituted an 8-member panel headed by the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Oyebanji Filani, to investigate the incident and report back to him in 2 weeks. And now the All Progressive Congress has charged the new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahaya, to build on the successes recorded by his predecessors in the fight against insurgents and criminals. This was contained in a statement titled APC charges new Chief of Army Staff to consolidate on successes against insurgents or other criminals, signed by the party's National Secretary, John Agbodode, in Abuja on Thursday. He said the party welcomed the choice of General Farouk as the new army chief. The party said it was satisfied that the President Buhari-led administration has prioritized the provision of more and advanced equipment for the armed forces, which has enhanced their operational capability against elements posing threats to the country's internal security. Sokoto State Governor Honorable Aminu Waziri Tambuwal has said the Nigerian governors have reached a consensus to set up an implementation structure to grant the judiciary power to manage its capital and recurrent expenditure in line with constitutional provisions. Governor Tambuwal stated this while presenting a paper on the perspective of the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, at a special Attorney General's colloquium held in honor of the retiring Chief Judge of Ekiti State, Justice Ayodeji Daramola in Ado-Ekiti.
As Chief Executive of respective states, we feel compelled by a solemn undertaking under oath to protect and preserve the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. The Presidential Executive Order Number 10 of 2020 is a unique piece of regulation which we believe deserve highest scrutiny if we must uphold the federal principle which forms a fundamental feature of our Constitution.
Settled, but NJC has not done one thing on this since the 1999 Constitution came into operation. We've carried that burden for as much as we can, and in many cases, not well enough. So if it is something that they want states to carry, it's not a problem. At least let's be clear that this is the responsibility of the state.
Away from that, the Rivers State Governor, WIKE, claims all the Progressive Congress APC intends to use ongoing constitutional amendments to vest power on Chief Justice of Nigeria to set up panel to hear appeal from Election Tribunal. The Governor WIKE made this assertion when the Senate Subcommittee on Constitutional Amendment for the South-South Zone, led by Senator George Sekibo, paid him a courtesy call at the Government House in Port Harcourt.
I do know what the ruling party is doing as regards to this constitutional amendment, particularly as regards the powers of the President of the Court of Appeal. I can tell you authoritatively that what they are trying to do is to make sure that tribunals and appeal tribunals, as provided in the Constitution to be appointed by the President of the Court of Appeal, should be removed and now be done by the CGN. Again, that is part of the Electoral Act amendment that they are coming up with, that the only court that will hear pre-election matters are Federal High Court, and even state courts can no longer hear by pre-election matters. So I hope this amendment is not just to, because at the end of the day, if you do what Nigerians will not be happy, well, whatever that comes out, Nigerians will hold you responsible.
What we are trying to do now is to get across to our people. The House of Reps and the Senate alone cannot amend the Constitution for this great country. So we have come to reach out to our people to collate their views, to see the input they will make in the Constitution. The Constitution actually is supposed to be a law that is made by the people.
Now, the Nigerian Bar Association Section on Public Interest and Development, SPATE, has enjoined the federal government to make more policies ultimately for the welfare and security of the people. These and many more were conclusions reached at the end of national conference held in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The leadership of the bar viewed with deep concern what it terms to the frequent bloodletting as well as the incessant attack by suspected nomadic herders, while calling on the central government to intervene to stop the ugly situation.
Speakers at the conference discussed issues surrounding the imperatives of public interest in governance, internal security as a prerequisite for national development, the legality and efficacy of public inquiry by state governments, the role of the Office of the Public Defender, sustainable development goals, third-party data capturing for national identification numbers project, and then paternity fraud, amongst others. SPATE therefore submit that there is the need for the federal government to invest and institutionalize ranching in the entire country. Number 5. The cardinal duties of the state governors are to protect lives and properties within their state, and that is agreeable by all. To this end, it is proper for state governors to establish state policing outfits like Amoteku, Ebubago, and the rest of them, including the ones in the northern region, for the protection of lives and properties of their citizens in their various states.
Now, in more stories, the Imo State government has called on the people of the state to shun the seat at home ordered by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. IPOB intends to celebrate Ojukwu Remembrance Day on May the 29th to May the 31st in all Igbo land. According to the Imo State Commissioner of Information, the clan, Emelumba, the state government, working with law enforcement agencies, has put adequate measures to place to ensure that no breakdown of law and order on the said days.
I'm therefore using this medium to appeal to our parents and guardians to rein in their children and wards against any form of demonstration in these volatile times. Those who are stoking the embers of this crisis will not put forward their own children to be part of the battle. That is why my fellow parents should not allow their children to be cannon fodder in a purely mindless matter. Let me also use this opportunity to make it clear, and abundantly so, that Imo people should ignore the messages making the rounds in the social media, asking people to stay at home on Saturday, May 29th, and Sunday, May 30th, respectively. Imo people and residents should disregard these messages as they have no consequence whatsoever. They should go about their normal businesses without any fear of molestation. Let our people be rest assured that the government has put all necessary security measures in place to ensure the safety and freedom of movement of all Imo people on these days and even after.
Now, Minister of Transportation Rotimi AMAECHI has tasked government and well-meaning Nigerians to initiate programs that will encourage reading culture among Nigerian children. AMAECHI doing a book reading program at the government secondary school Wuse Zone 3 in Abuja to celebrate his 56th birthday anniversary, expressed optimism at the skills and abilities of the students, stating that their ability radiates hope for a better nation.
As a governor, I did this consistently. Went to schools, read books with the children, and but that's the fulcrum of my celebration for all my birthdays, so it can't be that Nigerians don't see it coming. But basically, it's to encourage young children to focus on education. In some of my early speech to them, I told them, don't just read one book, read all the books you see. And there's an improvement as we go. There will be more improvement as government continues to encourage children to read.
If there's anything this country is lacking today, it's leadership. But I've seen leadership in display. I've seen young men and women, actually young girls, that radiates hope for the future. Young girls that indeed I'm confident that with them on the driver's seat, the future of our country is great or will be great.
You hardly see someone of a high caliber like that to come to even a government school to spend his time with students. And I was very impressed. And thank him very much, Rotimi AMAECHI, for spending his birthday and his time with us.
For these 50 students that were here today, the other students that come to school, we get to know about it. We will show them the film and the picture. And I want to tell you that it will inspire a lot of them. That somebody who was already a governor, who was a speaker, and presently a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria, is coming down to read with children.
Now, the federal government on Thursday launched 40 million safety kits for school children in Nigeria. Ministry of Education launched a program tagged Children Accident Prevention Initiative in collaboration with the National Union of Road Transport Workers on Thursday. The ministry's permanent secretary, Sonny Echono, disclosed that statistics revealed an increase in the number of school children involved in road-related accidents without any commensurate improvements in preventive measures, especially the availability of first aid facilities to cater for the victims. He said kitting school children with reflective jackets to ensure visibility is very important. Now, manning the exit and entrance roads with road guards, the provision of road signage, modern zebra crossings, road infrastructures, and training of teachers for increased uptake of knowledge therein are capital intensive. The Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Wajuba, however, said the ministry is more committed to creating an inclusive and safe academic environment for all learners. At this point, we'll take a short break now. We'll be back for more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we bring you stories from the Africa continent. The European Union could have a military training mission in place in Mozambique within 7 months, the bloc's foreign policy chief said on Friday, helping the Southern African country tackle Islamic insurgents. I think we could be able to approve this mission, Joseph Borrell told reporters ahead of the EU defense ministers meeting in Lisbon, where the subject was due to be discussed. The problem is to find additional countries besides Portugal to supply troops, he added. Borrell has previously said 200 to 300 personnel could be sent by the end of the year. Portugal sent 60 soldiers to its former colony Mozambique this month to begin training soldiers to counter the insurgency, share intelligence, and use drones to track militants' movement. Now, Mozambique has been grappling with insurgency in its northernmost province in Cabo Delgado since 2017, and violence has grown significantly in the past. Still on the African scene, the United Nations Refugee Agency voiced deep concern on Friday at reports of soldiers taking hundreds of people away from displacement camps in the Tigray region of Ethiopia earlier this week, saying such sites could be a safe haven. 3 aid workers and a doctor told Reuters this week that Eritrean and Ethiopian soldiers forcibly detained more than 500 young men and women from 4 camps for displaced people in the town of Shire in the northern region on Monday night. Baba Balok, spokesman for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, told Geneva News briefing. In court, he said, we reiterate our call on all parties to ensure the protection of civilians, including the forcibly displaced. It is crucial that all parties to the conflict recognize the civilian and humanitarian character of the displacement sites. End of quote. And now on the foreign scene, South Korea aims to use a global climate summit in its hosting virtually next week to punish its leadership credentials on environmental issues despite its patchy record at home. Diplomats say they expect few major announcements at the summit on Sunday and on Monday in Seoul, but organizers are looking for participating countries to take steps to implement sweeping emissions goals made at other climate summits. The 2021 Partnering Growth for Green Growth and Global Goals 2030, or P4G Summit, is the second of 3 major international conferences on the environment this year and brings together a dozen partner countries, international organizations, and private companies. Some non-member countries, including the United States and China, are expected to participate, including in the form of video speeches by national leaders or senior officials. Established in 2018, P4G focuses on public-private partnerships, especially in developing countries, in contrast to the more intergovernmental pledges and commitments featured at the Leaders' Summit on Climate hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden in April. In more foreign story, Germany apologized on Friday for its role in the slaughter of Herero and Nama tribes people in Namibia more than a century ago and officially described the massacre as genocide for the first time, as it agrees to fund projects worth over €1 billion. But Herero Paramount Chief Vekuli Wukoro rejected as insulting a deal agreed by the German and Namibian governments because it did not include payments of reparations. Wukoro told Reuters, referring to a German commitment to fund €1.1 billion of reconstruction and development projects in Namibia. In quotes, no self-respecting African will accept such an insult in this day and age from a so-called civilized European nation, end of quote. Now, German soldiers killed some 65,000 Herero and 10,000 Nama people in the 1904 to 1908 campaign after a revolt against land sieges by colonies in what historians and the United Nations have long called the first genocide of the 20th century. Up next is sports with Judici. Stay with us.
Welcome to the sports update. I am Judici Chidi. Now, Juventus have sacked coach Andrea Pirlo after a single season in charge of the Italian team. Now, the deposed Italian champions announced this on Friday. The club released a statement headlined "Good luck, Andrea Pirlo," after a season in which Cristiano Ronaldo and his teammates lost the Serie A title to Inter Milan and were eliminated in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. The former midfielder, who enjoyed a trophy-laden spell as a player at AC Milan and Juve, led the Turin Giants to the Italian Cup and the Italian Super Cup titles in his brief reign at Turin. Now, the sack adds to a series of departures of coaches at Europe's leading clubs in what has been a turbulent week so far. And on the local scene, Amaju Pinnick, the president of the Nigeria Football Federation, have assured football fans in Nigeria that they would soon be allowed into the stadiums to support their teams. Now, Pinnick said this while speaking to journalists at the Oshobo Township Stadium on Thursday during a one-day walking visit and inspection of football facilities and academies in the state. The NFF president also added that the ITO Cup finals, which is coming up in the next 3 to 4 weeks, will have about 50% of fans allowed into Nigerian stadiums. He further added that the NFF would have to liaise with the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the Federal Ministry of Health to ensure the safety of our fans. And that's all for now on the sports update. Back to you, Margaret.
Thank you, Judici. And we move to business news now. The Securities and Exchange Commission has directed all existing investment crowdfunding portals, digital commodities investment platforms to comply with the registration requirements or cease operation by June 30, 2021. The Capital Markets Apex regulator said on Thursday that the platform should note the requirements and eligibility criteria for raising funds through or operations crowdfunding portal. According to the STC, the rules governing crowdfunding businesses in Nigeria came to effect on January 21, 2021, which was part of efforts by the Commission to ensure investor protection while encouraging innovation in the conduct of security business. An American asset recovery firm, Forensic Asset Investigation and Recovery Services, LCC, has traced $69 billion, about 28.3 trillion naira to different Texas bank accounts, occurred from illegal oil deals by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. The money was believed to have been siphoned from undeclared crude oil sales under the Goodluck Jonathan administration, allegedly by the NNPC officials and their collaborators in the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, out of the stash, $9 billion was traced to a Texas bank account allegedly belonging to a former National Security Advisor, General Andrew Azazi. Azazi died in a helicopter crash in Okoroba, Nembe local government area of Bayelsa State in December 2012 along the governor of Kaduna State, Patrick Yakowa, warrant officer Kamal Mohammed, a prominent politician from Kaduna, Dauda Shoko. The pilot identified as Commander Muritala Dabar and co-pilot Lieutenant Colonel Adeyemi Sowole. The asset recovery firm, in a confidential memo to the Special Presidential Investigation Panel, said it would recover the money if engaged in its expenses and compensation paid. In more business story, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disbursed 333.2 billion naira for various projects in the South region to provide funding to activities in different economic sectors. Now, the governor of Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed this on Thursday in Port Harcourt at the launch of the Rivers Cassava Processing Company Limited, which was designed to support improved production and processing of the cassava into high-quality flour in Rivers State. He also said 4 South states have accessed 7.4 billion naira to boost their agricultural productivity. A statement from the CBN entitled "Make Your State Viable," Emefiele tells governors said the banking regulator urged the governors to make their state more viable by investing more in agriculture, particularly crops in which they have a comparative advantage. Meanwhile, the naira exchanged to the dollar at 490 naira per dollar at the parallel market on Thursday. The official exchange rate website of the Central Bank of Nigeria for the Bureau de Change operators, the country's currency was bought and sold at 488/490 to dollar as of Thursday evening. The naira had earlier exchanged to the dollar at 483 in the previous week. The CBN recently adopted the NAFEC investor and exporter forex window rate of 410.25 naira as its official exchange rate to the dollar. It confirmed this as new official rate on its website on Monday night after it had removed 379 naira to dollar. It would be recalled that in April 2017, the CBN established the I&E forex window as part of efforts to deepen the foreign exchange markets and accommodate all forex obligations. The purpose of the window was to boost liquidity in the forex markets and ensure timely execution and settlement for eligible transactions. Also, the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele has said that digital currencies have a place in the country. He made this known during the 279th Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja. Moving on, the World Bank has approved the Nigeria's Sustainable Urban and Rural Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene Program, which will provide $700 million credit from the International Development Association to ensure that 6 million people can access basic drinking water services and 1.4 million people can access improved sanitation services. It disclosed this on the website on Thursday. The SAWASH program, which would be effected as part of the Nigerian government's National Action Plan, was designed to ensure improved water sanitation and hygiene services to 2,000 schools and healthcare facilities and help 500 communities to achieve open defecation status. The World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Shobham Kwajuri, emphasized the extent of the program, stating that it would be helpful in enhancing access to soil water, sanitation, and hygiene. Now, the dollar hit a 7-week peak against the yen and firmed on other majors as traders braced for what is expected to be robust U.S. inflation figure on Friday, while the Chinese yuan extended gains head for its best month since November. Sterling is also on course for its best month against the dollar this year at about 1.4192 US dollar, was close to a 3-month top with support from policymakers' forecast of likely interest rises coming next year. In quotes, we have an improving growth backdrop globally and some central banks have gotten ahead like the New Zealand Central Bank and the Bank of England and the Canadian Central Bank, end of quote, said Bank of Singapore analyst Mong Shon Sim. The pound's 2.7% monthly gain has also been driven by Britain's rapid vaccination drive and has the sterling at the best performing G10 currency on the dollar through May. Against the euro, the pound exchanged hands at 85.79 pence per euro, near its 5-week high of 85.615 pence. On the yen, the pound hit a 3 high of 156.02 yen. And at this note, we call it a wrap on news now. Please follow all the social media platforms, subscribe to YouTube channel, like, don't forget to drop a comment for us on the comment section. My name is Margaret Opara.